Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And continuing my review series of the video game franchise of Resident Evil, here are my thoughts on the remake of Resident Evil 4. And, no joke, before I clicked record, um, I realized I was wearing my Fantastic Four shirt, talking about Resident Evil 4 and 4. You get it. Starting off with my positives on the Resident Evil 4 remake, it should be known that I actually have played a little bit of the original Resident Evil 4. I have not completed it. I don't really know where I quit playing it. Just the playstyle of it with the camera, where like how you have to move and shoot, that just like confused me at the time when I was playing it for the first time. So I couldn't really get into it. I'm sure if I played it now, I'd be okay because I've been replaying a lot of Resident Evil games. But nevertheless. But since that's all out of the way, leading to my first positive is that this remake really respects the original Resident Evil 4. Now, you can say that about a lot of the remakes of this franchise, with the GameCube remake and the Resident Evil 2 remake, arguably 3, which that faces a lot of criticism. But the reason that I talk about it here is because not only because I have played the original Resident Evil 4, and two is that is I think that universally everybody that is a Resident Evil fan loves Resident Evil 4 too. And now that's a story I've heard God, I can't fucking speak. A lot. I sound like that fucking pig from Looney Tunes.
Oh, son of a son of a son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
Um, is something that I've heard a lot is that that Resident Evil 4, the original, was a lot of people's introduction to the Resident Evil franchise. That's how people got introduced to the franchise. For me, it was Resident Evil 7, and then like from there on, I started playing more of them, like the Resident Evil 2 remake, then 3 remake, and then I started playing the GameCube games, and then I've kind of played a few of them here and there, stuff like that. And so the reason I talk about why this game respects the original Resident Evil 4 is because it takes a lot of elements that so many people universally love from that original game. They bring it back here, they do it even better, and they just make it better in some aspects, and even add on to the game that a lot of people will probably appreciate. Now, yeah, sure, I can't really say much because I'm not in that group of people saying that Resident Evil 4 is the best Resident Evil game of all time. I don't have that nostalgic factor. I never really played it at the right time. I played it when I was like maybe 12 years old, I think. So I was pretty young and stupid. I still am young and stupid, I guess, but back when I was a youngling, I guess I could say. But yeah, I just really like how this game really respects that original game. From what I've played, there was a lot of elements that I really enjoyed, especially that opening of the game with the village when you're going through and shooting the enemies, which is probably one of the coolest introductions to a video game with Resident Evil 4. Especially, and then with the boss fights and the enemies and the characters, this game really respects the original, and I think that the creators of this game knew how special and how important that the original game is to some audiences, and they did not want to fuck it up, and they did not. And graphically, I think this is arguably the best looking Resident Evil game, which this is the latest Resident Evil game. We are getting Requiem here in a few weeks, which I cannot fucking wait for. But as of right now, this is probably graphically the best looking Resident Evil game that I have ever seen. Because you can look at the latest remakes and then even Village, Resident Evil Village, which that game came out a little bit before this. Village and Resident Evil 4 to me are the best looking Resident Evil games, and this game is absolutely beautiful. The visuals in this game are absolutely masterful, and I am a whore when it comes to visuals, and this game's visuals are fucking incredible. I love this dark, atmospheric, like, graphic that they're going for, where they make everything so dark and more tinted in a way, where red really stands out on the villains, like, especially with the Las Plagas, how you could see the red in their eyes, and they really stand out. Like, the graphics in this game and the visuals are just absolutely amazing. Like, it literally blew my mind when I was first playing this game because I never seen graphics like this good from a Resident Evil game at the time. Because I remember day one, I bought it, I'm sitting there and I'm playing it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is one of the coolest looking Resident Evil games I've ever seen. Like, I absolutely adore the look of this game. Now, sure, it's nothing like Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, etc. But this game, for a Resident Evil game, looks fucking phenomenal. And one thing that I'm very glad that they changed in this remake from what the original game did. Now, I think that original game is pretty well known for its goofy tone and kind of goofy jokes that Leon throws out there, that those like one-liners and just the way he delivers them, especially for the game being 20 years old now. Excuse me. The voice acting will come off as a little corny and a little and just as funny. And it's just funny. Like you go back play that game, the line delivery and some of the characters and the bosses are just funny.
Gonna do, Leon?
Hate to say it, but we're sandwiched all right. Way.
I forget the guy's name. What's the guy that's in the wig in the castle? What the fuck's his name? God, I don't even sound like a Resident Evil fan because I don't remember his name. Because if you don't know the villain's name, you're not a fucking fan of him, is what I keep seeing on fucking Twitter. So apparently I'm not a fan of Resident Evil because I don't know one of their fucking names. I forget his name, but in the original he's really goofy, but in this game he's a little bit more goofy, but he's more darker, and he has that like this weird like I don't want to say Saw vibe because there's no like kid in that, but he gives off this weird, cool Saw vibe to where he's like this goofy character, but he's also really sick and foolish. I guess I could say Chucky. Chucky is sick and foolish, but funny at the same time. He has that little darkness to him in this game, and I'm very glad that they add this to the game because this game is dark and it is violent. Now, yeah, you could say that about the original, but the original to me was always just more about the fun and the action of it because that was when at the time when Resident Evil was leaning away from survival horror and was going more into the action subgenre. Now, sure, Resident Evil 4, it did have its survival horror elements at times, but it was a very action-centric game. Now, yes, the remake is very action-centric as well, but it brings that horror vibes with the tone and the atmosphere and the villains and how tough they make them, which is annoying to me. But I think that making this game darker will really draw in more audiences because there's a lot of audiences that might not be drawn to the original because how goofy it is and how funny it can be at times, so where it kind of takes away the horror of it. This game adds to it and really dials it up to 10 in this game. And I'm very happy that they did that because they really make you feel the presence of these villains. Because in the original, you don't really feel them. You don't really feel the presence of them at all. They're just kind of like there. There was never really one time I got scared playing that game, which is kind of unfortunate, which, again, leaning towards more of the action subgenre. But this game had a lot of good scares and a lot of moments where it kept you on your feet and will have your palms sweating when you're in these sequences and trying to kill all these guys. Like, there are moments like that. Like, especially the Wolverine dudes. I forget their names. I always called them Wolverines because they got the big claws or whatever. Those fuckers, they are terrifying in this game. The first moment you meet them, whoo, a little bit of pee went down my leg. And
I had an accident.
You had an accident? What does that mean?
I'm not even joking. And it's very hard not to talk about this game when it comes to Leon. It's very hard not to bring him up again after he was such an amazing character in Resident Evil 2. But in Resident Evil 4, to me, this is the best that we've ever gotten from this character after the very disappointing Resident Evil 6. Because that had a lot of promise. That was one of the first Resident Evil games I ever played. Technically, that was my first one. Technically, Resident Evil 6 was the first one I played, and I didn't know it was a Resident Evil game at the time. So, I guess it holds a dishonor of that. But yeah, this is the best version that we have ever gotten from Leon. I am very excited to see what he can do in Requiem. I don't think he'll be able to top this in Requiem. I don't think that this Leon will get topped because this Leon Kennedy is so fucking cool. Now in the Resident Evil 2 game, he has that rookie cop vibe. He has the like, oh, I want to save everybody. Like Spider-Man, I want to save everybody, but I can't. He has that kind of he is that rookie cop character in that second game. But in this game, he's more badass. He's more on his feet. He's more self-aware of everything. This Leon Kennedy is a fucking badass through and through, and I absolutely love him throughout this game. There are literally moments where he's just aura farming. Like the scene is going to grab like a key or something, and then the chainsaws sawing through legs. He does this badass backflip off the wall and just lands and just watches it. Was that backflip necessary? Absolutely. Why? Because it was fucking awesome. Leon Kennedy in this game is just the definition of badass. I think that this is probably the coolest. This game really solidifies Leon as the coolest and best character in this franchise. Because holy shit, there's just moments where I'm just saying that's badass. Like the fight where he's having with Krauser with the knife, like right before you start having it, like the little cutscene where he's dodging him and he's stabbing him or whatever. Like that, I'm like, oh, I'm getting Metal Gear Solid vibes from this shit. And I haven't played a lot of Metal Gear Solid, but I can tell you that it's badass. And Leon Kennedy in this game, he's just badass through and through, and he's literally putting his life on the line just to save this one person with the president's daughter. And he goes through hell and back. He fights through so many great enemies, and so many enemies, by the way, and just there's nothing I can say about Leon in this game without saying the word badass. Take a shot every time I say badass. You will probably end up in the hospital. So I'm sorry. Don't do that. And it's not even just Leon in this game that's one of the coolest characters. The side characters and the antagonists of this game are some of the coolest and some of the most fun ones that you will ever get from this franchise, especially with Luis. I've always been a fan of Luis with his good boyish charms. With he has that sexy look to him, and he has those boyish charms to seduce the women type character. Excuse me. I always loved Lewis, especially in the original. As much as I didn't play a whole lot of that God, excuse me, a lot of that game. I always said that Lewis was a fun character, and he is so much cooler in this game. I always thought that he was one of the best characters of this game, and I was really bummed when he died because I really liked his character. Like, I knew he was gonna die, but I really enjoyed his character. And then you got characters like Ashley, which I will get into later, who is a fun addition to this game and has that chemistry with Leon throughout the whole game to where he has like a companion and a little buddy with him throughout the whole game, so he's just not all by himself. Like I really enjoyed Ashley from that aspect alone. And then you got the return of Ada, which I'll get into later as well. But Ada in this game is always Ada is always a great welcome into this franchise whenever she shows up in games because I've always enjoyed this like weird but not so love chemistry that you have with Leon and Ada because Ada kind of plays with Leon's feelings, but Leon has those feelings for her. And in this game, they kind of play at that a little bit more, especially with the Resident Evil 2 remake when it leans heavily into it. So it was cool to see her. And then with the antagonist, with the guy in the castle, I forget his name. I'll have to look it up here in a second. Before I'll have to look it up so I fucking know what his name is, so I don't get called a faker or something. And then just all the villains just in general with Krauser even. Krauser is one of the coolest villains of this franchise. And I'll get into him later too. But the thing is, he's just a badass. Like you find out that he was the guy that trained Leon to become this badass military guy that we know him as now, and everything. Like there's just so many cool characters and antagonists in this game that just makes the game even more entertaining. I will say that the final villain of this game is a little lackluster and just a little meh, but I really enjoyed him. I really enjoy all of the antagonists and the side characters in this game to go alongside Leon, and that is everything I could hope for in a Resident Evil game. And kind of going back to my Resident Evil 3 remake review, I talked about how the boss fights in that game were a little disappointing because they were all nemesis, and I talked about this game having better boss fights and some of the best in the series. This game has some of the best boss fights of the franchise. You got that big giant like monster guy. I forget his name. I don't know the names of them. I don't know specifics. I guess I'm not a true Resident Evil fan. Like you got that big giant monster guy. You got the castle fight. You got the very ending. You got the final fight at the end here. All the boss fights in this game are just so awesome. And then you get this like tall guy that looks like Mr. X with his fedora and his little trench coat. I'm wearing a robe. It's the first time you're ever gonna see me wear a robe, I think. Oh yeah. Why am I wearing a robe? Because it's comfortable. So, like, all the boss fights in this game are just so entertaining and so different and so unique in their own ways, especially since this was at the time where after I got done replaying Resident Evil 3, it was so disappointing with the boss fights just all being Nemesis and not being original or other villains. To go into play this game and have so many different boss fights and have so many fun ones in this one was such a huge boost, especially because, like, I was kind of bummed. And then to go to this, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I really enjoy every single boss fight in this game. They are all entertaining in their own way, and they are all fun in their own way. Now, moving on to my mixed aspects. Now, you might get like a little mixed feelings, haha, mixed. you might get a little bit mixed feelings about when I talked about the side characters because I do have a little bit of issues right now here. But one of my mixed elements is Ashley, and it's not her as a character. Now, yes, you can, and a lot of people didn't like. A lot of people, when it comes to the original game, don't like Ashley in that game because they deem her as the most annoying character in Resident Evil history. Why am I doing this? I don't know. But yeah, she's kind of deemed as the most annoying character ever in the original Resident Evil 4. Now, I don't think she's very annoying in this game because she's not screaming, Leon! Help! Like, she's not doing that the whole game, but there are moments to where I get fucking mad at Ashley because there are moments where there's a huge crowd of villains. I'm trying to save my ammo so I don't have to fucking bullet sponge all these fuckers because sometimes they don't give me ammo when I'm running along. And when I'm trying to run past the crowd and not waste all my ammo, Ashley will get fucking grabbed by one of those fuckers, and I gotta go all the way back and save her. And then sometimes I would accidentally shoot her instead of the enemy, and it would kill her, and then I had to redo that whole section. There were moments where I got really pissed at Ashley, and I got so annoyed with her to where I just wanted to strangle her and just let her die. But is that a kind of my fault? Sure. But it's never the gamer's fault. It's always the game's fault. Don't you read Twitter? And my final mixed element is the character of Krauser. Now, you heard me talk about him earlier when I said that he was one of the coolest characters in this game. I think his boss fight is absolutely awesome as well. But the one thing I am very disappointed in this game, and I really wish they explored more, was you don't really know much about Krauser. They give you little hints just like, oh, in the war, I lost my men because of the military or whatever, and I joined Umbrella or whoever to get back at the US military or whatever. And that's kind of all that you get. And that's really unfortunate because I really wish that there was more added to that. I really wish there was more to the Leon and Krauser relationship that they kind of they go for in this game because when you defeat him at the end, Leon's like broken, like he's brokenhearted, like he's sad, like he lost like a brother or a father figure. That's like what they're aiming for, but it doesn't quite land because you don't really know much about Krauser. All you know is that he's just pissed at the US military. Who isn't pissed at them anymore? But that's really unfortunate. I really wish that they had some sort of scenes to where they could have added more to the Leon and Krauser story to where they could have had that relationship to where his impact on death really hurt you more because it didn't really impact you all that much. If anything, I was just bummed to see him go because he was a cool character and I really liked his boss fight. Other than that, I wasn't really bummed, but oh, I do like the Krauser character. I just really wish that they kind of gave us more insight on him and kind of explained more instead of just like, oh, I'm pissed at the military. And then when you kill him, Leon's heartbroken, but as you as a player, you're just like, all right, let's keep going. And now moving on to my negatives, and I only really have one, which really tells you how great this game is, and it's very small, but I'll get into this more. My one negative is the voice actress for Ada. Now, before I say anything else, there was a whole thing that was going on with the voice actress for this game back when this game first came out 3 years ago, which Jesus Christ, this game came out 3 years ago. That is very hard to imagine. There was a whole controversy where she basically got bullied off the internet because people did not like her voice. They didn't like how she portrayed Ada, basically. They didn't like how she sounded different from the Resident Evil 2 remake. And all I will say to that is that if you were one of those people, then you can go fuck yourselves. You are a pussy for that, and I don't understand why people are like that. Why bully people off the internet just because you don't like the sound of someone's voice? You are a coward, and you are a fucking pussy, and go fuck yourselves for over that. So I'm not going to bash her and say that she did a horrible job because I can't criticize her voice. Like it's her voice, I can't criticize it. But the one thing that I will say is that her voice just doesn't match Ada. It doesn't say Ada to me because when you see the character, you know who she is, especially in Resident Evil 2. She had that charm to her. She had that sexy devil like in her in a way. And I don't know why the voice actress from the Resident Evil 2 remake did not come back to do Ada for the Resident Evil 4 remake. I don't know what the history is there. I don't know what could have happened. It's not really any of my business. All I can say is that a bummer she didn't because I can't criticize the voice actress because it's not her fault. It's her voice. I can't blame her. She was the one that was casted. They had auditions for Ada, and the crew for this game decided to choose her, which I do think they chose wrong. I do hope that that she does go on to do other things in her career. Now, after a while, do you kind of get used to it? Yeah, especially when you play the Separate Ways DLC, you kind of get used to her voice more. But I just didn't really felt like it felt like Ada to me. It didn't have that sexy charm to her, and it didn't have that like urge that you get from Ada in Resident Evil 2 or any other game. So yeah, that's my one negative. But still, if you were one of those people that bullied her off the internet and kind of made her have self doubt for a lot of her life, and I don't know what she's got going on right now. I don't follow her or anything, but if she's got going anything else right now, I hope the best for her. But if you were one of those people that bullied her off the internet, then like I said, you can go fuck yourselves. But overall, guys, this is a fantastic video game. This is a fantastic remake. This is a fantastic Resident Evil game, and this is in contention as my all-time favorite Resident Evil game. Now, I don't have that love for the original like a lot of people do because I was very late to the party and I played it at a very young age, or probably at the very wrong age if I'm completely honest. But yeah, I absolutely love this game. It is one of the best video games I've ever played. It's probably the best video game remake that I have ever played in my life. I absolutely adore this game, and if you are a fan of Resident Evil, what the actual fuck are you waiting for? But what do you guys think about the Resident Evil 4 remake? Have you played it? What do you think about it? Do you like this game? Do you not like this game? Do you prefer the original? Do you prefer this over the original? Let me know in the comments below, and we shall talk about it. And if you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe with the bell notifications so you will get notified for all my latest videos and for the rest of my Resident Evil video game review series and my upcoming Resident Evil movie review series. But until those next videos, I'll see you all next time.